At the approximate scale of 8.12 million square miles, the continent of Faulest is just slightly smaller than North America in size. Welcome to this continuation of my DireLands system-agnostic dark fantasy campaign setting. My name is Adam, and in this episode, I will be discussing the continent of Faulest in DireLands. If you appreciate the development of this campaign setting or the features of other games on this channel, I'd like to invite you to consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You can even purchase tabletop role-playing games using my affiliate link in the description below. The history of the continent is not known to the inhabitants of Faulest. Not only is it much older than the First Nations people believe, they are not even the original inhabitants. In antiquity, all of Ciar-mhonadh was populated by the gods. Together, these spirits of the cosmos, elements, and nature came together and created the natural world, populating it with creatures of all sorts. As the great worms began to overpopulate, they felt the need to balance nature through the creation of mortals. Up until this epoch, there was no mortal realm of the world, as the wildlands covered the entire planet. Sensing the unbalance that the great worms represented, the gods decided to create mortals and a mortal world for them to dwell in. They set this mortal realm as pockets around the wildlands, and this not only forced the worms to battle for territory and dominance with each other, but set them in direct opposition to the mortals. However, the mortals banded together and nearly wiped out the great worms as their populations grew so rapidly in contrast. Once the worms retreated within the wildlands, the mortal realm began to spread, and the mortals settled the lands above and below the surface. As Ciar-mhonadh's continents began to shift and move apart, continents began to be defined by the races which inhabited them, though even in the case of Faulest and Quill, they were populated by much more than just the elves and halflings respectively. It is the receding of the wildlands which not only spelled doom for the gods on Ciar-mhonadh, but also set the stage for the eventual discovery by the DireLands, ancient cosmic beings who desired to conquer known space. With the shrinking of the wildlands and the diminished influence and power of the gods in due course, the mortals began to draw tribal boundaries, and the land became segregated. Half-orcs, the result of raids between orcs and humans, retreated to the north, while elves and halflings settled much of the southern continent. Dwarves claimed the hills and mountains with the gnomes. Many other monstrous races claimed dominion over territories, and conflict became common across the continent of Faulest. The wildlands would spread once again, and knowledge of the gods and the spirit realm would come to the mortals in the form of war. The fey creatures would unite with the remaining great worms and wage war on the mortal races, but again, like the great wars of the past, the mortals would overcome these nigh-immortal beings, pushing back the wildlands and in turn ensuring their own future doom. The few remaining great worms retreated deep into the wildlands, with some of their reptilian cousins traveling to the far corners of Ciar-mhonadh. For it is because the wildlands remained shrunken that the First Nation peoples of Faulest couldn't unite with their fey cousins and fight off the incursion of the Biochte, or men from the west, and later the Witch Queen. As the battles between the wildlands continued, the half-orc tribes of the north would unite with the human, elven, and gnomish tribes to form the nation of Locastan in 1754 AM, or after men arrived from the west. The nation would extend approximately 1,500 miles to the west and 3,511 north to south. It has a population of approximately 17 million, composed of 35% human, 20% half-orc, 12% goblin, 8% ogre, 2% gnome, and 33% other. Its capital is Vergnim, with a population of 1.1 million. It features an autocratic government with an emperor who rules over its tribal leaders. Its primary cities are Griff, Clintock, Zezes, Crex, Bailey, and Cess. This was a massive change to the structure of Faulest, which had existed as borderless tribal territories for the First Nations people since time immemorial. Such was the threat posed by the interlopers, for with them came technology of art and war. This spurred the industry of war for Locastin, and they directed their efforts against the Biochte. The tribes south of Locastin did their best to stay out of the conflicts, believing there could be peace to be had. After all, the ancient ancestors found peace with the Fae, or so they believed. However, by 1113 AM, the men formed the nation of Bressus in the west. The nation is spread approximately 1,380 miles east to west and 1,110 north to south. It has a population of approximately 20 million, composed of 62% human, 9% elves, 7% dwarves, 5% halfling, and 17% other. Its capital is Trinicius, with a population of 1 million, and its government is a republic, ruled by an emperor who is advised in council by representative senators and lords of state. Its primary cities are Vitro, Valcastin, Gale, Prestus, Thrak, Lumen, Lahore, Wallen, Okar, and Troon. While it took nearly 500 years for the border to be defined through conflict, it is a defended border with the nation's founding. With little option left, Kalia would unite its disparate tribes to form the Bilgos, a tribal collective which would be the face of the nation in 1073 AM. It spreads approximately 1,260 miles east to west and 1,050 miles north to south. It has a population of approximately 13 million, composed of 47% human, 17% elves, 13% dwarves, 10% halfling, and 13% other. Its capital is Urthek, with a population of 750,000, and its primary cities are Toktek, Wihememe, Udalos, Zeszeshu, Querel, Munru, and Kahutehe. While the Bilgos is made up of the tribal chiefs, it is an uneasy alliance that is beginning to fall apart with the renewed spread of the wildlands in the wake of the reign of the Witch Queen. Life continues to thrive, and though small border conflicts continue, the nations and people of Faulest try to focus on themselves in this new frozen epic. But peace on Faulest is far from secured, for the wildlands are beginning to spread again, and the threat of Dukarechev is far from over. Will you stand with the people of Faulest to face this cosmic horror, or battle between nations for the remaining territory if the wildlands cannot be stopped? The future of these DireLands are yours to shape. Thank you for watching today's DireLands Fantasy Campaign Setting episode. Please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, liking and commenting on this video, and if you enjoyed this episode, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Always remember that evil spelled backwards is live, so get out there and be evil.